Currently in Norfolk Showground, where about 7,000 young people all meet together and worship God, basically. But I mean, it's so much more than that.
I love hanging out at Newday because I get to be in an environment where there are loads of youth worshipping God. Everyone's really passionate about what they're doing. Everyone seems to just have this amazing hunger to worship Jesus, and it's really infectious on sight.
The universe was made to show your glory. You are worthy, oh.
The power of 7,000 people worshipping Jesus, loving Jesus, and the fact that God breaks in when 7,000 people do all worship Jesus at the same time. I think it's the Holy Spirit moving in the room as people worship and as people praise that makes it so great, rather than it just being us singing some songs in a big tent.
The single best moments have got to be the moments when you really meet and connect with God. Through sort of the music and the singing, like, you're not just singing a song, like, you're singing praise to the Almighty God, which it then becomes a completely different thing. So I think that the best part of worship is that it becomes a channel through which you can sort of communicate your praise to God.
It kind of refreshes you for the year ahead. It's also a great time to reflect on the year that's just been and how Jesus has been there.
I think the standout song from this year has got to be "Move Like This," which had a really great breakdown section where everyone just went mental, like crazy dancing.
That's why we move like this. 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 That's why we move like this.
It's amazing because I get to go to so many different types of talks, so many different seminars on so many important issues that are really key to their life, whether it's about why does God allow suffering in the world, or relationships, and these are issues that affect them as they go back in their normal day-to-day lives, and that's so important.
My favourite part of Newday tends to be the meetings, and especially the preachers in the meetings, because they're really inspiring and give me a lot of teaching and advice, as well as the speakers are always really funny.
But the other two people that have come to run it were two retired nuns. Pause on that for a second. How old have you got to be a retired nun?
There was a really amazing talk by this guy who was an armed robber who found Jesus in prison, and it was just really good because it was one of those things where loads of the youth of all ages, whether 15 to 19s, they got it on a really deep, meaningful kind of way.
So I'm freaking out, properly freaking out. I was like, Daryl, calm down, go get a wash, go get a shave. So I did. I went to the sink, started getting a wash, looked in the mirror and stopped. because I didn't recognise the guy in it. He's smiling. He's beaming. Then it dawned on me that I didn't just look different, I felt different. Everything had gone. The anger, gone. The addiction, gone. The violence, gone. It just wasn't there anymore. All I had was this big ball of joy trying to break its way out of my chest like something from Alien.
It was one of those rare moments where there was a talk where you're just like, wow, this guy's come to Christ, he's been through everything, and amazing for these youths just to hear about these kinds of people, really.
He's got a really powerful story. So yeah, hearing about that was really good.
Yeah, my favourite talk this year was Steph Liston when he talked about fish, was the title of it, and he was talking about Peter specifically and how the grace of Jesus kind of changed Peter's life and shaped Peter's life, and how Peter came to rely on Jesus and then himself and then Jesus again, but found that relying on Jesus is the best one.
What is this? This is the grace of God. This is what happens when you let Jesus into your soul, and it makes you realize, first and foremost, I'm not like him. To be able to bring a man like this, we know Peter by temperament was outspoken, he was bold, it brings him to his knees in a moment, and he says, I'm sinful. I mean, man, have you ever tried to get a confession of sinfulness out of anyone? Have you ever even tried to get an apology out of your brother or sister or your cousin? Have you ever tried? It's the hard, you apologize. No, you apologize. Some of you had it this week. You did it first. Bang, bang, bang. Peter's saying, depart from me, Lord. I'm a sinful man. Jesus is like, all I did was give you lots of fish.
One of the ways that Jesus loved to show his compassion for people is by healing the sick. So in just a moment, if you have any kind of physical need, if you're sick, if you're ill, if you're injured, then I'd love to pray for you right where you're standing right now.
What happens next is the incredible power of God is demonstrated. And every year, hundreds of people are healed. Instantaneously. Many of them, some of them as they go to their tent, some of them as they wake up the next morning. But I mean, every year we just hear of several hundred people who have been healed. I mean, doubtless more when they go home.
And just to encourage you folks, last year when we prayed a prayer like this at Newday, in the 15 minutes that followed this simple prayer, 299 people came forward to say that they had been immediately healed.
2 years ago, one of my friends was healed of something that he'd had for ages, and I mean, you just can't fake that. Like, when you know someone who's had a condition and they're suddenly healed. Like.
Favourite thing to do? Can I say eating?
Next level.
The Lime Lounge is a space for young people to show off their creativity in music and in poetry and rap and dance and areas like that. It's a really chilled out cafe, and we have lots of space for open mics and a Battle of the Bands competition, and then have gigs in the evening where more established acts come and really showcase talent to the young people at Newday. Throughout the week we've had Forerunner, who are a rock-based band, Branches Arc, who are more folk, and Monumental Music, who are a more rap, hip-hop based sort of vibe to their music. So really trying to give a very large range of different styles and genres of music for the young people to listen to. But our specialism is mocktails. We've got non-alcoholic cocktails on offer in both cups and in fish bowls for groups of friends to share.
Favourite cafe? Oh, that's really tough. Because like retro, you have ice cream. And then Pink Bar, it's just really cute because it's pink.
A lot of our stuff is sort of pampering, whether it be the nails or the massage tent or the salon. It's just a place where girls can actually get those luxuries they have at home, which they really don't have here.
You know, it's all essential when you're camping or glamping.
Glamping. I think the social aspect is really important. I mean, at the Newday, obviously the main focus is God and meeting God and getting to know God, but at the same time, it's a great place to come and meet fellow Christians. You might only have, say, 2 or 3 Christians back at home with your friends, but here there are, 6,000 plus this year, where you see all of them coming together, mixing socially and just enjoying themselves and hearing them and seeing them and hearing their testimonies, knowing that Newday has changed them for what small insignificant part we play in helping that is huge.
I myself, when I was coming to Newday years ago when I was like 16, 17, and I made all these friends, it's been really fun getting to meet up with them, see how their walk with God is going, building relationships with each other again. That's probably one of my, definitely one of my favourite parts.
And just doing stupid things like attempting to jump over tents. In my case, failing rather spectacularly.
There's a silent like this.
Honestly, they're absolutely hilarious. I love just standing watching the kids jump up and bounce and just dancing away and yelling sometimes to the music.
They're just in a world of their own. They're sort of switching between the 2 stations, and so you've got some dancing to one thing, some dancing to another, and you can usually pick out the cheesy tunes because they've got dancers that go with them.
I think my favourite social event, the Nerf arena that they have a Nerf gun arena in the gents bar. Essentially, fire lots of Nerf guns at your friends and people you don't know, and at your enemies.
As Newday continued to grow, we recognised that there was an increase in terms of the diversity of kids that were coming to Newday. There was a lot more urban city kids that weren't necessarily being catered for in the same way that other kids were. So the Rim Factory was launched in a way to try and serve and reach out to those people.
It started off doing sort of its own gigs alongside the other gig venue, a Newday, but then it was such a hit that it kind of became its own thing, thanks to acts including like Governor B, and this year we had LZ7 as well, who it was great. It offered something a bit different to the usual performances.
Telling young people about Jesus just like you. That's why we do what we do. If you like it, we love it. If you don't, it's not made for you. Let's go!
And then after 8, we'll tell you about the Newday Festival and how although it's being held at the Norfolk Showground, it's spreading out across the city.
Every year we do outreach projects at Newday. This year I was cutting a hedge for a guy called Mr. Pash, but it's just things that honour the community.
We're in Norfolk and we're sorting everything out here. to make it look all pretty. We've got like 2 bus loads of people doing, and it's sorted, nearly.
Because not many people come out of their own will and change an area and have a big impact. So
yeah,
I feel great doing this.
It's not something I normally do though. Like I don't just get out of bed and like, oh, I want to go and like weed up a like car park and sort it out.
It creates an example of Christians, and I think it's also important for people my age to be doing this kind of helping community, because there's such a kind of stigma about how people my age don't care about communities. So it kind of helps to break that and helps to kind of show the gospel in a practical way.
Plenty of massive weeds to get out, but we've managed to do it.
Seeing the difference it makes to the local community and seeing how grateful everybody is to have us.
And I had a really good conversation with one couple, and they were asking a lot about New Frontiers and about Newday and why we were in the community. They asked to be in contact with the local church, so that was really great to think that we're actually making a difference.
Loose Change started up in the Newday 2010. We came to the 2-day workshop here at the Norman Centre in this estate called Marcross for kids who aren't involved in a lot of things, or maybe they've got tough backgrounds, how getting involved in youth theatre. It was a catalyst. Newday is on, you can do a 2-day thing, you can get started. That's what it did for us.
We've been doing prophetic evangelism, which is it's basically where you pray for clues about what kind of people you might want to meet, or where they might be, or issues that they might want prayer for. And then we go out into the streets to tell them about a free car wash. While we were doing that, we then can see if they match up to any of the things we prayed for, and ask if they want prayer. We got to chat to quite a few people, and some people asked for prayer for healing. So someone had arthritis and they asked if they could get prayed for that, so we did.
And we've been cleaning cars for people who have driven past, seeing our signs, acts of servitude without expecting anything back, just like Jesus was doing in the Bible.
We've had loads of fun today. We're completely soaking wet, not just from the rain, but also from a lot of hose pipes going everywhere, but it's been brilliant fun.
We are giving people an idea of God's grace, and they're wondering why on earth we're doing it, so we can tell them.
It's just nice, isn't it, to get a free thing?
If you've gone out on one of the buses or on outreach this week, why don't you wave your hand in the air? That's loads of you, loads and loads of you. Fantastic. We've been doing that ever since we started Newday. And over the years, we've tried to learn how to serve churches in the areas where Newday is happening, so that they can reach out to people even more than they usually do, because we have so many enthusiastic Newdayers who are ready to help and get involved. And this year's been no different, but next year will be a bit different. In that next year, we're going to take it to another level. We're going to do it in a bigger way than we've done it before.
Who cares, we say? Who cares? And we often say who cares when we don't think anybody cares. And next year, of course, the Who Cares mission is going to be a sign not just that we care as Christians in Norfolk, but that you care because you are Christians and care for others, but most of all because Jesus Christ cares for everyone.
You go to sort of a regular music festival and you're like, oh yeah, that's really cool, those bands are really awesome. You go to Newday and you're like, I have to be there every single year until I'm too old to go. Like, because just the meeting with God and the power of God is staggering.
Every night you're doing good to me. It makes my heart
lot of the new generation that is coming up are so society sort of displaces Christianity, and Newday is a place where actually kids bring their friends to know Jesus. They bring them along, and you know, we are bringing people to Christ here, and I think it's really, really important. Without that, I don't think we'd be able to reach as many people.
No, seriously, I came to Newday when I was a teenager. I was in a pretty interesting place in my relationship with God. Came to Newday, God really spoke to me powerfully, and it has affected the way that my walk with God has gone for these few years, and I always get stuff out of Newday, so yes, come, you have to come.
Thousands of young people worshipping God together in the big top, you know, encountering the living God, getting charged up to go back to their home nations, to their home cities, to make Jesus' name famous where they live, which is what it's all about. It's what life is all about, and it's great to see them getting equipped and energized to go and do that.
We are yours. We are yours.
God is really there, and if you want to meet God, then that's a great place to do it, because he's definitely there.
Newday will change your life. Absolutely no doubt about it.
I said it's a bit like heaven. You walk around the camp and you keep bumping into people you know all the time, and it makes me feel like it's a little bit like heaven, because you're going to go, hi, hi, like that. Just like that.
Just like that.